You question yourself after the toxic relationship, after you've been with that narcissistic person? Today, I want to be able to share with you 4 painful realizations, truths built on 4 questions about you being with a narcissist. If you guys are new here, my name is Ben Taylor. I'm the founder of Raw Motivations, creator of the NARC app, a guide in your 45-day clarity challenge. And a lot of people struggle with these 4 questions, and they come in different varieties, different ideas. But why didn't I know? What's wrong with me? Am I a narcissist magnet? And how do I get out of this? How do I avoid the pain? Okay, I want to be able to walk you through some of these and be able to quell some of your thoughts, be able to provide some clarity about what's actually going on in these questions, and be able to talk you through from another perspective. Okay, first question: why didn't I know? You see, a lot of people look after the abuse and they look back and they're like, how did I not see that? Like, that person was an ass to me. Like, how did I not see how rude, how mean, how awful they were? Like, why did I even put up with that? And Kayla and I were talking probably about a month ago now. We were talking and we were driving. She was like, everything that I went through everything that you did, and through all the craziness, okay, everything that I went through, everything that happened, she's like, I had to be almost crazy to be able to put up with that stuff. Because now when I look back on it, I'm just like, holy cow, I can't believe I did that. And that's what happens is you get out of the relationship, you're like, whoa, like that looks way different now that I'm out of it. And the hard thing is a lot of times people look back at it and they're just like, wow, I am crazy, or I am an idiot that I didn't see that. How could I have not known? And what's happening here is a lot of times you've got shame that's bubbling up that wants to be able to make you feel awful over something that you didn't realize at that moment, over something that has actually happened to you that you didn't see happening in that moment. And typically what I normally say to people is 2 things. Like, 1, you need to watch your self-talk. Okay, I'm an idiot for being with that person. I'm stupid. How could I have not seen that? Well, take out everything. You're an idiot. You're stupid. Like all those things you're telling yourself. You need to change your self-talk, because that's going to negatively affect you, period. Okay, the other thing that people normally struggle with is the why didn't I know? Okay, I want you to think of this. When you were 3 years old, how much algebra did you understand? Well, probably 0. Maybe your person is like, well, I still don't understand algebra. Okay, it's fine. But follow me with the example. When you were that young, you didn't understand that. When you're older, high school, college, now you're like, wait a second, I actually understand that. You don't look back at yourself as a 3-year-old and be like, wow, I was such a stupid 3-year-old because I didn't understand algebra, right? Because you didn't have the knowledge and the education there at that time, or the age and maturity, but you didn't have that information there to be able to know what was actually going on, because it's unfair for you to look back at your relationship and hold yourself accountable in the past for knowledge that you have in the present. You need to be able to make that distinction. It's a hard reality, but you need to make that distinction. See, what you have to understand is the stuff that was in the past, like, you never knew some of that stuff existed. Like, you never knew about narcissism. You never knew about emotional abuse. You never knew what gaslighting looked like. You never knew some of those things. Okay? And now that you do, it helps you understand a little bit more of what's going on, but you can't hold yourself accountable for the past by knowledge based in the present. Okay? A lot of times people struggle with that first question. Why didn't I know? Why didn't I see it? Like, all that kind of stuff. Second question: what's wrong with me? You look at the past and you look at everything that's happened, you're like, something must be wrong with me. Because I'm either way too insecure, I'm a codependent, I'm too vulnerable, I'm too open, all these things. Something must be wrong with me. And you look at that and you start to beat yourself up. The thing is, after you've gotten out of being with a narcissist, don't continue their job by beating yourself up. Start to understand, wait a second, let me understand who I am. Let me understand the triggers and the ideas of hey, something's happening means that there's healing opportunity available. And understand that sometimes those insecurities and those vulnerabilities, those are a normal part of life for a lot of different people. The thing is, when you're with a narcissist, you are shunned into thinking that being insecure about something, being vulnerable about something, is a bad thing. You're too sensitive, you're too nice, you're too caring about these people, but not me. They'll beat everything back down. What you need to understand is that vulnerability, some of the stuff that the narcissist used to capture you, vulnerability is needed for change, especially now. Now you need to bring vulnerability into your life and be like, all right, It's going to suck. But like, where am I now? Vulnerability with my emotions. Are they real? Are they raw with what I'm dealing with, what I'm going through? You need to have vulnerability to be able to have change. You have vulnerability to have intimacy with other people. Emotional intimacy to be able to connect with other people and grow another relationship. Make sure it's the right people, okay? But you will need that. So when you look back on that, there's not something that's wrong with you in the regards of like, hey, this thing is like awful, or all these things are awful. The narcissist will play on your insecurities and your vulnerabilities to manipulate and control you. Any of those that you identify, you can start working on those. But it doesn't mean that you're broken. It doesn't mean that something's wrong with you. Okay. Number 3, popular one. Am I a narcissist magnet? It seems like I just keep attracting these type of people. Goes back to something's probably wrong with me, but like, I don't get it. Like, I just keep having these people. I must have some unique problems, like something that narcissists love. And so they always come after me. They always come after me. Something must be wrong with me because they're always coming after me. Okay. Maybe I'm too trusting. Maybe I just love people too much. I have too much empathy for other people. Maybe like on all these different things they'll like list out. And you have to understand that narcissists will exploit everything they can get their hands on. And so some of it is the aspect of like, am I a narcissist magnet because I was too trusting, because I didn't have boundaries? Well, they're going to exploit your weaknesses. And it's not just they're going to exploit your weaknesses and make sure they control and manipulate just from those. They're also going to exploit even your strengths. You're like, how so? Well, like loving someone, trusting someone, cooperating, like being really kind, like those things that they'll use to exploit by taking those from you. Like, you need to love me more. You should just trust me because we're together. Like all these different types of things. And sometimes they'll use those like in a very malicious way, like not just taking it from them, but then switching around and being like, I can't believe how trusting you are of so-and-so. Like they'll use your weaknesses and your strengths. They'll pit everything against you. So you need to understand it's not just because you have a vulnerability. It's not just because you're too trusting. It's not because you have weaknesses. It's not because you have strengths. They'll go after any of it. What I've personally known and come to the conclusion, like talking to a lot of different people, is a lot of times narcissists go after people that don't have a sense of self and don't have good boundaries. And typically they don't have good boundaries because they don't have a sense of self, really. I mean, that's what it comes down to it. But working on yourself and working on boundaries starts to add a layer of protection to be able to protect you from that toxic person. So when you start thinking, am I a narcissist magnet? Well, who are you? What boundaries do you have? What direction are you going? What vision, values? Start to develop you, and you'll start to notice that toxicity kind of falls off. Okay. Number 4, how do I avoid the pain? Number 1 question in healing is, how do I heal fast? How do I heal quick? Like, how do I avoid it? Because people don't want to deal with the pain. And it's fine. If you don't want to deal with the pain, then you're not going to deal with the gain of actually healing. A lot of people don't want to hear that. A lot of people think I'm mean when I say that. When it comes down to it, if you don't face the pain and start to work through it, then you're never going to get the reward of healing. That's just how it is. You're not going to heal by compartmentalizing. You're not going to heal by minimizing. You're not going to heal by shoving it out of your mind or just not thinking about it, just moving forward and taking all your baggage to the next person. You're not going to heal until you deal with the shit that you've been through. Again, it doesn't mean that you're stupid because you didn't know. It doesn't mean anything's wrong with you. It doesn't mean that you're a magnet because you're weak or because of your strengths. All it says is, hey, this is reality. This is the facts of the situation. But you see, it's normal to avoid. It's normal to avoid and deny that this is actually happening. We do that in the relationship. That keeps you in the relationship. Then you get out of the relationship, you're like, I still want to avoid and deny it because I don't want to face the pain and I don't want to deal with the hurt. The thing is, the longer you run away from it, the less you're able to engage with it, the less you're able to heal. It's like having a wound on your arm that you're not willing to bandage up, and you hit it every single day when you go into work. And you're like, why won't this wound heal? It's because you're not actually putting the time and effort into that wound. You're not investing into you to help fix you. The hard reality is, how do I avoid the pain? You don't. You need to go through it. You need to strive through the pain, embrace the feelings and the raw emotions of what's actually going on to be able to process it, to be able to work through it, to find the triggers that are messing you up every single day, to find the story that's in your head that's keeping you going back to a toxic person. If you're struggling with any of these, to learn how to come to terms with them, to come to terms with what happened and realize and honestly review the story that you're telling yourself, I want to invite you to join us on the Clarity Challenge. So 45-day clarity challenge to find clarity after toxicity, to be able to get away from the narcissist, or if you're in the relationship, to be able to get away in your head of like what is actually going on, to find your truth and to find your sense of self. Because that oftentimes has been lost when you've been with a narcissist and a toxic person. You don't know who you are and you don't have boundaries. The 45-day clarity challenge is something you log in every single day. You have to do the work, you have to walk through the pain, but you will get the result. You will start that journey on your healing and a growth mindset as you continue forward. So I'd like to invite you, go to claritychallenge.net, claritychallenge.net, to be able to enter in for our next sign up. We have ones that run every single month. We'd love to have you join and start that healing process. If you need community along the path to be able to help you in all aspects of dealing with narcissists and dealing with people that have also dealing with or have dealt with narcissists, I want to invite you at the NARC app. Go to narcapp.com, NARCAPP, Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Community, narcapp.com. You can get on there with weekly lives, with monthly coaching, with accountability, with no contact trackers, with journaling. All different things are in there. If you want to talk to me sometime one-on-one or engage with coaching, would love to interact, would love to help you in your healing journey on any process that you are at. I love to be able to meet with people and to be able to help them move forward to heal, grow, and change. You can go to rawmotivations.com. Thanks so much for watching. You all be healed and happy and healthy and whole, and stay narc free.